IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach Podcast, the bite-sized podcast filled with quick and easy, actionable habits. Remember, great habits create that awesome life. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And today's fun fact of the day has to do with spy satellite. Did you know that the earliest spy satellites were designed and launched into space without the use of computers? These satellites were made during the Cold War and were shot into space way back in 1970s. Imagine all this was taking place way before the digital photography thing was even invented. Each photograph from space was shot on a film made by Kodak, and each satellite had 100-kilometer long roll of film on board to take pictures. Can you just imagine the size of that roll? Now, how do you get that roll back on Earth so you can process the pictures and actually use that information? You can't just WhatsApp the pictures back and forth, right? So they designed a unique escape pod that would fall into Earth. A parachute would open somewhere over the ocean, and a transport plane would catch this escape pod midair. Now just imagine the complexity of all this taking place. All this before the use of digital technology. And these spy satellites would be so accurate that they could read the license plate on a Soviet Union general's car. And there was this really funny story floating around that the USA once took a picture of what the general was eating for breakfast on his lawn and then sent it to the Soviets just to freak them out. Spy satellites have an amazing ability to see things from a bird's eye view. From high up, they can cover a large area of land and see what's going on. But they also have the ability to zoom in to a very detailed view as well. And it is this ability to see what is micro in the context of what is macro that is invaluable. And in the same way, we need to develop the habit of looking at the macro and then figuring out the micro. This means before we start creating habits, we need to see where they fit into our life. We need to form the ability to look ahead and see what is about to happen. I know a number of people who have tried to start new habits just before they went on a holiday. So they started the habit for a week, and then when it was time to go on holiday, there was no provision for doing it on the holiday. So they gave up. It stopped. In this way, they failed to continue the habit. And as we know, habits are all about consistency. We have to keep creating consistency in order for the real effect of the habit to be felt. Others try creating habits without realizing how the rest of the family will fit into the habit. So after starting the habit, they realize that their daughter might come and disturb them, or that starting a meditation habit at 6 a.m. and the milkman ringing the doorbell at 6:15 is not ideal. Learning to zoom out and see the whole day or the whole week or the whole month panning out in front of your eyes is a very important habit. It's a skill set that we need to create, especially when creating new habits and activities are so closely linked with this. As a habit coach, this is one of the tasks I'm consciously doing for all my clients. As with experience, I can see the pitfalls and mistakes taking place before they actually happen. In the same way, I want you to learn to do this for yourself. When planning a change in life, look ahead and see how it will unfold with the various activities that are coming up. Weddings, parties, holidays, children's exams, all sorts of things. Then I want you to tweak it without giving up on it. Don't look at a holiday coming up and think, I'll start after my holiday. No. Instead, tweak the habit so it can be done on the holiday as well. So your super simple habit is to look at things both at a micro level and at a macro level. See the details and then see the big picture. This way, the chances of you sticking to a habit are far more than normal. This is the secret to consistency, just like the spy satellites were a secret to the Cold War. Usually in a podcast, it's me who speaks to you and you who listens. But I've been seeing your comments and it's time. It's me listening to you. Following the overwhelming success of this podcast, the good folks at IVM Podcast Network have decided to come up with a Kannada adaptation of the show for those who prefer listening to it in that language. Do make sure you let your Kannada speaking friends know about this as well. Now, if you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am at Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. We have a brand new habit coaching online course, quizzes, videos, and a lot more on the website awesome180.com. So check it out now.
Hello. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Raw and Organic, Kunal talks to Shivjit Gatke and Zahir Khan about how they came up with Step Set Go, a bootstrap startup. On Khel Niti, friend of the network Saurabh Pant joins Rajiv Mishra, Ayaz Memon and Sabah Karim to preview the India vs Sri Lanka series. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam speaks to Ram Iyer. He is the founder and CEO of the Vian Network. They discuss how trade finance works for local shops and SMEs. What is an oblate spheroid? The simplified hosts deconstruct the American football game and all there is to it. And on the Filter Coffee podcast, Karthik is in conversation with the Delhi High Court advocate Rohan Alva. They talk about his book, Liberty After Freedom, a history of Article 21, due process, and the Constitution of India. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. It really helps us. Don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms that you're listening to. And also remember, you can check us out on YouTube at www.ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Bank of Baroda and HDFC Life Insurance. Thank you so much for making this possible.
You're the people pleaser, right? Or then desperately seeking the one? Oh wait, you're the one who doesn't think they're ever good enough. So much drama. And for what? Is it doing you any good? Listen to me. I'm Chetna, your favorite positive action coach. Yes, I'm the one who has been dropping all those truth bombs on every episode. Oh no. And it's time you learn to say no to drama. That's also what my podcast is called. And a new episode is out every Monday and Wednesday on the IVM Podcast app, website, as well as all major podcasting platforms.